Hello? Can anyone around here speak basketball?
There it is.
It's the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast.
Trust in Messiah. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, with the gorgeous salt and pepper beard are you?
I am the producer. My name is Matt Duncan. Freddie, how you doing on this rainy day?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in. For anyone who's just kind of tuning in for the first time, or if you're coming back, thank you. We are a Raptors NBA podcast. We're hardcore fans. You know, we dip into, analysis as well. We got comedians and specialists and analysts on the show. So that's sort of our vibe. Me and Matt are both commercial actors and performers. So that's kind of our POV. But yeah, if you want to, support us more or help us out, or you kind of just get into this world more, how can you do that, Matt?
Go to dunkspodcast.com. That's a great place to start. That is our website. We have all our links for our podcatchers there, as well as the episodes that you can listen to if you just want to do a little browser listen. But go to the sonarnetwork.com as well. That is where, we nest in our podcast network. You can listen to our podcast. You can listen to a bunch of other ones as well on our Instagram and Twitter. We do have like link trees set up that make it really easy to get where you want to go. That includes our Patreon if you want to help support us. And if you need a toque, you're looking at a toque. I know you think winter's almost over, but you never know. It could be an ice age coming every day. I'm like, is the ice age here? Well, I got my toque. I got nothing to worry about. And, there's going to be a time when there's an ice age and all you're going to see is people in Confederacy of Dunks toques. So I'm looking forward to that day. Get your toque now because that ice age, it's coming.
Wow. I wasn't sure where you were going to go with all this ice age stuff. We basically just ended on the ice age is coming. Yeah. So heads up, get a Confederacy of Dunks toque. It's the only way to stop, a cataclysmic environmental event. But we got a great pod today. We got Matt McCready, just incredible producer and improviser and very frequent guest of the show. And first timer, Filipe Dimas, and he is also an incredible improviser. Is his first time on the show, but he's knows a lot about all sports. And is an incredible comedian, and I'm happy that we had him on. We should have had him on sooner, but fun pod. We talk about the Goran Dragic Saga and villains. Bye. We talk about bye Goran. Hello Zoran. That's his brother. Not hello Zoran. Sorry, but we talk about the last 25 games of the season for the Raptors and kind of joke about what we should expect. And we also talk about the weirdest moment at the NBA All-Star weekend. And of course, how to fix the broken event. We talk about dunk off fixes. Matt throws a bunch of, just listen up. Matt will throw some stuff in there. I missed my flubber opportunity. That's okay. But I think with that, I think we're pretty set and good to go. And I will just say, make sure you're registered to vote. If you live in Ontario, we got a lot of important elections coming up, so get involved there. And Matt, if you feel like we're good, ready to talk some ball, please just say those words I love oh so much. Okay. Okie Smoky. I'm Ned Flanders, I guess. But let's get rolling on this very fun pod. We got a new guest and an old guest who's been with us, basically since the beginning. So let's start with the OG. He's one of my favorite people in the world. He's a hardcore basketball fan in like every respect, knows the draft just like the back of his hand. And, one of the best, if not the best producer in the whole city. He's incredible. He's an amazing improviser, just an all around great person. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Matt McCready.
Oh, yeah. Oakley dokley, smokelies. Let's get on to Evergreen Terrace, next door neighbor to Homer J. Simpson.
Huge J in there. Like, forgot that Homer had a middle name.
I think they made a full episode about it because they've just run so low on ideas, although I can't remember what happened in it.
I wonder how many like Simpsons episodes there has been on just like someone's like a part of their name that they haven't explored yet.
Yeah, I bet Mo, like his last name is kind of interesting. They've probably done an episode on Mo's last name.
Oh yeah. Maybe there's like a Wiggum town. It's like, well, actually, I'm named after a famous town.
A town of Wiggums. What a bad episode. I can see it happening so easily.
As soon as I said it, I was like, that's a bad idea. I don't want to watch it. I don't even want to talk about it.
It's a bad idea, but it's a great Simpsons pull of what they would do.
They definitely, that's like in the like if you're grabbing loose ping pong balls for just ping balls. So you know what? Drop the pong. Okay. I'm rambling. Let's bring on guest number 2. He's amazing. This is his first time doing the pod. A hardcore sports dude himself. He had a really, really good prop bet thing going for the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know if basketball is his number one sport. I think it perhaps is hockey, but he, is just a all around sportsman, incredible comedian. Yeah, he's a fisher, he's like all the weird sports too. Okay, totally. I've butchered this intro.
I can't wait to hear what he says about luge.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of like weird Olympic opinions that only come up every 4 years. But he's also running this incredible show right now on Twitch that's all about those like weird smut games that you get advertised for where you're like, is this real? Anyways, they are real, I guess. And he's playing them with some other incredible comedians. But without further ado, give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Filipe Dimas.
Hey, y'all. The Simpsons episode you're thinking about was in season 10, where Homer becomes a hippie after learning his middle name is Jay.
Oh. Is it all about like smoking Jays?
I forget how he gets to that conclusion, but he finds out the J stands for J-A-Y, and it changes his life for some reason because, they were 150 episodes deep at that point.
Wow, that's only like a third of the way they're through now.
Yeah.
Filipe, I must call to attention. We don't always have new guests or new songs on this pod, but that song you just heard, that's your forever song. So even
I love it. It's like if you turn the Seinfeld theme down a couple octaves.
Yeah. It's kind of subsonic sound. Like
What
maybe
is
like
the deal?
this is like when Shaft is thinking. Maybe if Shaft is like playing chess.
I'm into it.
Oh wow. Okay. I feel like we've given this this weirdly like chewing sounding beat enough time. Let's
I was hoping we were going to do the full episode in it, like an ECW New Jack match,
It's just like a low hum. People are like, man, I really like these guys' analysis, but like that, I think I'm sick from this weird rumbling sound. All right, let's start talking some Raptors ball. Maddie, good sir, I know you're there. You are the person who played the rumble. So please give me your weirdest, loudest Raptors sting. Sick.
Yeah, I ruled.
Dude, that was cool, right? Like fun. Let's go to you first, McCready. So I feel like this is one of those ones where my answer is almost clear in my question, but yeah, the Goran Dragic saga is over. Was kind of a heel turn to the Brooklyn Nets. He's officially signed with the Brooklyn Nets after being waived by the San Antonio Spurs, or bought out rather. Is Goran like substantial enough to be in villain territory? And after your answer to that, who is your like top Raptors villain?
Okay. Yeah. I think I feel like Dragic was kind of like a pawn in like the most like real way, and that he was just a contract that had to get moved around. So I don't really care about him not playing for the Raptors at all. Like they were just acquiring a contract for if they fell into a trade that they could use. I feel like the NBA should get rid of contract matching for trades. I think it's kind of silly, especially with teams like going into the tax and paying more money to the small market teams anyways. It seems like they like it when that happens. So why not encourage that even more? If the Lakers want to give the Raptors a future first for washed up Goran Dragic, like, sure, like, let's do it.
I just want to interrupt to say I really
please.
like that idea.
Yeah, like why not? Like who cares? Like it would make the trade deadline so much more interesting and varied. It would like allow for way more trades to happen because you wouldn't have to have all this bullshit. It would allow like layman NBA fans to talk about trades more freely without like cap dorks like myself and probably us other two here being like, well, actually, you can't trade those because those contracts don't match. Like it would put the ESPN trade machine out of business. But other than that, I really don't see the downside to it. Still, yeah, he's kind of like a pawn being thrown into that. So it's like, I don't really give, like, I feel like Masai is like a cool enough guy that when they were acquiring Dragic, they were like, hey, man, we just don't want any problems. Like, we aren't really necessarily going to use you. So if he was like kind of giving a bad vibe in the locker room, which is kind of just understandable to not give the 100% of a cool vibe all the time when that's happening, when you don't really want to be there. They just told him to like, sorry?
37 as well.
Yeah, he's like basically retired. This is like his like last chance to do something fun. And he's like in a team where he's there for a contract. It's not ideal. So him leaving, I don't really care if he's gone. For all-time villain, I mean, I don't really hate him anymore, but my all-time villain is still going to be Tracy McGrady.
Ooh, I like this.
It is because he like really kind of strung around the Raptors a little bit. But really, because I don't know if either of you two remember this, or if this was just like I happened to see this photo every time I went to the Air Canada Center after he got traded. It was this picture of Trace McGrady that was on the stairwell on the way out of the stadium. You would go and leave, and it was covered in spit, like just drenched in spit. And it's so funny. So like that is like the most heel thing ever. That's like Roddy Piper shit. So wow, that's my pick.
Great points and huge observation. You went straight into like the drunk fan's mind. You're like, listen, whatever people want to say, there's only one poster in the stairwell covered in spit. So
I was bummed. I think it's been gone for like 10 years, but like it was there for way longer than it should for a guy who left on bad terms and wasn't there very long. And I think it's because the staff had to know what was going on with this photo. So yeah, just keep it up forever.
That's great. That's a little like ACC Scotiabank nugget that is both like super gross and also like amazing. Agreed on all the Dragic points. Like I feel, this idea of someone kind of like playing ball is fair, but there's certain limits to it. Like there's, the way the NBA works now in, the player empowerment era. And just in general, like he was traded in such a way that why would he respect this process? Like obviously he has a contract, so he didn't go out of his way to like be a jerk. Like he didn't try to force things. And he also didn't really want to play in Toronto. And I think that is, it doesn't really put him in villain territory for me. I think the reason I really started thinking about this was because Brooklyn has slid all the way down to 8th place, and for them to pick up Dragic, like we have a back-to-back against Brooklyn, I think early March.
Yeah, that's cool. If you want to boo Dragic, by all means, go and do that. I'm not saying don't hate on Dragic. Like if it's a fun thing to hate on Dragic, so I get it. Do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For the sake of fun, but yeah, like he's not going to be this storied villain for Raptors fans. He's not like, oh man, we could have had McCready and like Vince or whatever, but McCready wanted to leave and
he's too inconsequential. It's like an assistant coach not wanting to come to Toronto. It's like, who cares, you know?
Yeah. New villain, Chris Finch.
There's also just better players on Brooklyn to boo. Like, I don't think he's even like top 3 on players you would boo in Brooklyn during that series.
100%. Okay. So yeah, Philip, that's kind of a perfect segue, like to your ethos. You're down to boo a bunch of people. Where are you at with Goran, and also like, you know, just like who's your Raptors villain?
Yeah, I'd probably just echo everything Matt said. I feel like he's such a footnote in like the Raptors season. Like even when like when they acquired him, everyone was just kind of like, oh, neat. Like no one was expecting him to come here. No one was excited he was here, including himself. Mm-hmm. He played like 5 games. Like it's going to be a guy that even like 3 years from now, we're going to be like, oh yeah, remember when he was a Raptor briefly? Like,
yeah, he's a trivia question for sure.
Absolutely. Like he's up there with the all-time, like, did you know this player played for this team? It's like, what, really? Okay. But yeah, as far as
like Marion, when Sean
exactly.
Marion played with the team. Yeah.
Like those guys that you're like, you see them in a different jersey and you're like, that's Photoshopped. Absolutely. Like, there's no way.
Tony Parker on Charlotte.
Oh, God,
wow. Yeah.
But yeah, like as far as all-time villains go, this is what I spent a lot of time going back and forth with, because I'm like, man, I don't know if Toronto has like a villain the way some teams do, because like as a big, like, as you mentioned off the top, as a big hockey fan and a Leafs fan, I'm like, I don't think Toronto hates anyone the way the New York Islanders hate John Tavares, like that sort of thing.
Right.
Like, I don't think there's that, or even like soccer, like the way like Barcelona hates Luis Figo. Like just for
he's too sexy. He's too hairy. He's too sexy.
For a long time, the Raptors were just like, you couldn't really blame players like Vince or Tracy or Bosch for leaving. Like, even though like you can make the arguments like, oh, the team was always on the swing up, and then these players leaving kind of drag them back down.
I don't blame them for hating TSN. TSN is the worst. It's all hockey. They were right.
Well, that's the other thing. Like for a long time, up until recently, Toronto just wasn't a destination at all. Like 1, it's in Canada. 2, for a long time, no one gave a shit about the team, including the media. And it was like, yeah, can you really blame these players for leaving? If I had to pick someone, I was originally going to say Vince, but after learning about that spit wall, I want a hard pivot over to Tracy, because that's like, again, that's some like European soccer fan type passion of like, yeah, we keep this poster up just to spit on it. Like, we hate it.
T-Mac too. And also I feel like more than anyone, T-Mac he's got to be the ultimate, like what could have been as far as like was a Raptor, went on to do much, much greater things after being a Raptor. You know, perhaps there's other guys like, you know, Vince still did a lot of stuff after being a Raptor, but yeah,
I mean, the team was wicked after McCready left for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like they were one of the best teams in the East, even without McCready.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm not sure if the 47 win team was the year after that, but I think it was close.
The one where they played Iverson in the playoffs. That was the year after McCready left.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine, like, you know, Vince and McCready in that series would have been.
McCready getting the Corliss Williamson minutes probably would have been an upgrade. You know,
yeah, would have been pretty decent. Okay, McCready's a good answer. I feel like I always have to just chime in with like anytime there's like Raptors villain stuff with Hito Turkoglu.
He just choice.
I've never seen a player that like, you know, we were just talking about like Dragic, right? Like at the end of the day, he was like as professional as he needed to be. I can't remember ever seeing a Raptor show up and have like immediate disdain for his situation and the city. And he signed here. Yeah. Like he didn't, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he got traded here and then it was like he didn't want to be here and it's like an Alonzo Mourning sort of type deal. Like Hito chose to sign with the Raptors over the Portland Trail Blazers for I think a difference of like $2 million or something. Like not, substantial, obviously, but for an NBA player, perhaps not that big. So really, he was trying to max out his payday, and then I think that was the end of his interest in Toronto. They were the team that would pay him, and we did, and yeah, he didn't really contribute much to the team, and obviously has that famous moment. So he just has a famous moment with Jack Armstrong where he just said "ball" in a post-game interview, and it was really funny, but really weird. And I don't feel for Jack a lot, but I felt for him in that moment.
Why don't you feel for Jack?
Well, I just feel like he's clowning around. So I'm like,
all right, his life's so nice.
If you got an egg on his face, he'd be like, "Hey, check out this egg," and we'd be like, "This guy's awesome."
That is true.
But what were you going to say, McCready, about Hito?
Oh, did he ever do anything after he left Toronto? Like, was he ever? I don't think he did, right? Like, that was like basically the end of his career, right?
I think he kind of cashed out and didn't do much. I'm just going to Google him quickly. But, he let's just see here quickly. Yeah, he played
years with Orlando after.
Yeah, I think after the Raptors, he had 2 seasons where he averaged more than 10 points. And had, I guess shot okay from 3 and okay from the field, but that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. So, not too much. Let's move on. And Filipe, I'm going to go to you on this one. But the Raptors are 5 games up of 500. They are 7th in the East, just a half game behind Boston, 6th in the East, and 2 games up on Brooklyn, and 25 games left. What are you expecting to happen? How do you think it's going to play out?
Yeah. This Raptors team has been a lot of fun this year because it's kind of felt like playing with house money. A lot of people were expecting them to be a lottery team again, and now here they are contending to get into the playoffs. I'm very anxious about the rest of the season. This may just be the sports fan pessimist in me, but the other day, because I feel like every time you watch a broadcast nowadays, they're talking about the minutes that Fred and Siakam are playing and stuff. And I was like, how many minutes are they playing exactly? And the Raptors have 3 guys, I think, that are top 5 in the league in minutes per game. And all 5 of their starters are in the top 25, I think. And I was like, oh, this is a team ready to burn out. I'm scared that this is a team that's this. You see it all the time in sports, and even the championship year, the Raptors' whole thing was load management. Let's rest our stars because none of this matters until the playoffs.
Right.
And nowadays it seems oh no, we're just burning through all 5 of our starters. I think I saw Steph Curry and Giannis and guys like that are all averaging less minutes than our entire starting lineup. Every single one of them. So it's you have a fresh superstar going up against a tired full roster. That makes me nervous. That said, I'm hopeful about what the team is going to be going forward. It's like I said off the top, it's a very fun team. I'll say I was completely wrong about Scotty Barnes. I hated that pick at the time, and then I went to a game and just to get to see the full live experience, see him on both ends of the field, and I was oh, this guy, the court, and I was this guy rules. This guy's got so much energy every single play. He's such a firecracker, and I think hopefully that energy can keep this team with these heavy minutes.
Yeah, great points. I think I think particularly people who've watched sports a lot know that burnout you're talking about. And it was almost frustrating. I think it was Will Liu who asked Nurse I don't know if it was a facetious question, but it was kind of it got the desired answer, because he said, what do the superstars think about playing big minutes? And it kind of opened the door for Nurse to take a couple different directions, but he went with the direction of they love it. They wouldn't change it, which, I think for any superstar or big time player who's really competitive, that's sort of the given. Players are trained to be ready at all times. You see a guy like Gary Trent in interviews, he's been talking about how he's worked up to this specific, role and moment in life his whole life. So, he came into the NBA and was behind guys like Lillard and McCollum. And now he's no, wait, I'm them. So I'm going to show you why you can't take me off the court. Cause I mean, I'm not saying he is them, but that's what he doesn't want to give any minutes to Svi or Champagne or whatever. Like he doesn't care about their development necessarily. So I too, I think that's there's a big chance for burnout. One joke I saw on Twitter was that Fred VanVleet looked tired in the All-Star game. And I thought he did. I was like,
really did.
For a guy who's like his first time, I was like, man, he looks like he doesn't really want to run around that much.
Oh, like LaMelo played like he had electrodes in his sneakers. Like he was like running like a maniac. And
Totally.
Fred never got out of a jog the entire
No,
time.
he didn't. Yeah, Fred was like obviously, it's that new person trying not to impose himself, but like at the same time, like, impose yourself a bit. But yeah, I think that's that's a thing we're gonna have to watch for the rest of the season. Like, obviously, I've been watching Nurse's minutes like you the entire season, and to his credit, the last 4 games have featured 9 or more guys playing substantial minutes, but it could be a too little too late scenario. And I think going forward, he has to play 9 or 10 guys substantial minutes if we're going to save Fred and Pascal. And I'll even throw in OG, whose shooting numbers have really dropped as
he
of
looks
late.
tired.
He looks gassed, right?
The beginning of games, he looks tired.
He does, yeah. And I mean, he's guarding all the best players on the team and, carries such an offensive load.
Big players too. Like huge.
Yeah, like Jokic and like DeMar or whatever. Where are you at, McCready? Like, what's the last 25 games? What should fans expect? Like, burnout, I think, is a potential, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Thad helps a lot with that. Like I think that a lot of people are like, "Oh, Thad's superfluous for what the Raptors do," and it's like, yeah, but they are doing that too much to their players. Like, get a new guy who can like slot into those minutes. So it's like I thought it was a worthwhile trade. I think people who hated that trade didn't look at it very hard. Moving back 11 spots in the draft is fine by me.
Agreed.
On like what is everyone saying a pretty blah draft. Who knows? Maybe we'll bite him in the butt. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, I remember when Lenny Wilkins took over the team. Let's have a lemon tree moment amongst ourselves to bring back the Simpsons for the 9th time in this podcast. Like when Lenny Wilkins took over, he like played Vince so many minutes. And I remember they asked Butch Carter about it, and he's the former coach, so he's going to have salt in his speech regardless. But he said, you don't something along the lines of like, you don't use your race car as like a plow horse, like you gotta give some space to these players. And I'm less worried about this year and more worried about long-term ramifications of playing the guy so hard, especially when it comes to like Scotty, who is also significantly slowed down in the last couple weeks. Rookie walls, I'm sure part of it, but I mean, Nurse is adding more bricks to that wall. It's hard to jump over a 19-foot tall wall. Yeah, and I mean the Raptors coming out of the All-Star break, which was so dearly needed, a fucking week off for these guys.
Oh my god!
But they have 7 games in 10 days, which seems like a typo. And I read it, and then I looked it up, and then right before the episode, I looked it up again to make sure it wasn't wrong. But it's because they're making up those COVID games from earlier in the year. So that they need to space guys out during this stretch. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if guys get rest in certain games throughout this next stretch for that reason. I think Fred could have maybe played leading up to the All-Star game, but I think they wanted to just shut him down for as much as possible.
Right. Yeah, no, I think those are really fair points. And like what I agree with you too on Thaddeus. And it also seems like this a big part of this team's identity is like being superfluous and being redundant, at least for now. So yeah, they're leaning into that, and hopefully Thaddeus is a guy that Nurse can trust. Since we know there's some trust issues there, hopefully he's a guy you can kind of come in and spell some minutes for a bunch of people, and also give some organization to the bench. I'll also add, I feel like a big thing I'm expecting for this, end of the season and hoping for really is some kind of like more continuity with the bench. And I think that's sort of what's going to make this team a more robust kind of like winning, organization, at least at this point, because whether it's Flynn or Svi or Champagne or Utah, you got to have a couple of these guys that are coming into the game and not looking at the bench every time a whistle's blown, thinking that they're getting yanked.
Utah is especially strange,
Yeah.
He's exactly the type of player that could fill in for those guys. And he's also the best shot blocker on the team. And he's shooting 44% on corner threes. It's like, why aren't you just playing this guy? Like, just put him out there.
And also like, that's gotta be stay ready or whatever. Right. But that's gotta be a pretty big blow to your confidence for a guy like Utah to get COVID essentially, and then come back, get 2 games after COVID where you get to play and then get benched for 15 straight games. Like that's gotta suck. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like we've kind of like made the deliberate effort to integrate Birch. So yeah, I'm hoping that after Birch, Precious, Boucher, Young, one of the other guys that can shoot gets to play on a regular basis.
Hopefully.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Like maybe we'll just try and drag race to the end of the season and get injured. I hope that's not what happens, but it's definitely on the table. Like, these sports metrics, like they don't lie. Right. So, but let's keep this baby moving. Let's talk some NBA. Matty D, good sir. I want you to come in, but before you do that, please give us the most delicious, weird Adam Silver sounding foghorn sting.
National Basketball Association.
Oh,
NBA.
This is Adam Silver.
thank you.
Is he in the convoy now?
Oh my God. Yeah, hey, Silver's a private donor to the convoy. Shit.
Uh-oh.
No, hey, but that's like, in all fairness, American coverage of the convoy has been really good. But okay, let's talk some NBA after some nice timely convoy burns. I feel like let's start with you, Filipe. And I want you to don't worry too much about the word broken, but just add something that's going to make the event better. So Saturday night was, I think, largely a bust in a lot of people's eyes. I feel like I do always have to say, though, every time there's a dunk off, it's like the world collectively forgets how hard it is to dunk. It's kind of like watching the 100-meter race, being like, oh, that's weird. He didn't get a world record again. Huh. And, it's just an elite athletic thing. And, if you're doing Jordan or Irving or Wilkins dunks, people don't care anymore. So you have to be like that above and beyond. But I will say, I think it was not great Saturday night. Shout out to Towns, who was amazing. But yeah, pick one of the events that you think could be improved and tell me what you'd do with it.
Yeah, I think you kind of led me right into what I wanted to say. I think the dunk contest is very broken for a lot of the reasons you just said, and that we've hit a wall of what's possible for humans to achieve. And the 100-meter dash is a great example. Like, I remember when Usain Bolt was breaking records, a lot of people were like, oh, humans shouldn't be able to run this fast. Like, he's genetically a freak, and he's doing this. We're going to hit a wall very soon of just reaching 100-meter dash records that will just never be broken. And we saw it with skateboarding too. After Tony Hawk did the 900, for many years after that, everyone was like, well, that's it. That's the most spins a person can do. Yeah. Some people have broken it since, but it's often small children that don't have the same wind resistance or weight.
Yeah.
Or exactly.
They are the future, my friend.
But yeah, I feel like the dunk contest has kind of reached a point, like you said, of we've seen dunking from the free throw line, we've seen the 360s, we've seen the windmills, we've seen the between the legs. It's I was just trying to figure out oh, how do we fix this? And I feel like it just needs a hard pivot. I don't know if there is a way to fix it. Part of me was oh, maybe it's a pre-recorded thing, and you do something like the like you just do crazy elaborate things because then we don't have to watch through all the failures. But then that takes away from the excitement of it being like a live event and like the fans in attendance. Just in general, like All-Star festivities in general have been very, and I feel like most people agree with this, but have been very like boring for a long time now, because like All-Star games used to be a case of like, oh, we get to see all these players for the first time because usually you only get to watch your home team. But now with like every game on demand, if you want to watch Steph or if you want to watch Giannis, you can watch them. Like it's kind of lost some of its luster. So I think a hard pivot into like, especially with the dunk contest, of doing some like, just get wild with it. Like get like the Dude Perfect and Jackass guys on boards and be like, we're gonna screw around. We're gonna screw around and not take this seriously and be real dumb with it and just do some wild wacky shit and have some fun. Turn it into less of a like athletic feat and more of an entertainment feat, I'd say.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is me getting dunked on and falling into a pit of bees.
Like you would tune in to watch that. You would.
I would.
I would have
Also-
loved if at the 75th anniversary, if they just released bees onto all the old timer NBA players.
Yeah.
And kids dunking. I feel like I heard that idea in there.
Oh, absolutely. On
throw
the
a kid-
slam ball courts.
Yeah, just throw a kid at the rim and tell him to finish. Let's go to you, Duncan. I want to see what's your event and how you fixing it.
Well, I feel like maybe we're all going to pick the dunk contest, because I can't think of anything else that needs to be fixed more than that. It was embarrassing. I think that it should be scrapped if it doesn't improve. It should be gone. And this is what they should do. Cut out all the goofy shit, putting on the Timberland, all this goofy shit. You don't have to reinvent the wheel or do a Tony Hawk 1080 or whatever. Just dunk hard, try hard. Just friggin' do it. And here's the other thing.
Just normal dunks.
Normal dunks, but with like one of those
Normal
like punching
dunks
bags at the bar. Where
Break
it says how hard
that
you
goddamn backboard. I want that thing shattered. I want a sweeping crew for all the broken fiberglass. But you know what I'd also like to see? There's two things I'd like to see to make the whole All-Star event a little more exciting. One, I want to see LeBron in the dunk before he retires. He's never done it. If I'm,
You're
is
correct.
that true? Yeah,
You're right.
I'm correct. He's never done it. Get more stars to do it. They don't have to do anything crazy, but like, even if we got like a little guy, like point guard point of it, where like we got Steph, we got Fred, they're jumping on trampolines, like no, it's going. I said not to be goofy. It's getting goofy again. But the other thing I would like to say, sorry, the last thing I'll say is that I would like, instead of them picking teams, I just want two teams, and it's chip or no chip. So for the whole weekend, chip versus no chip. And then they're going to, I feel like they're going to go into the rest of the season with a little more gusto in their game.
Okay, I love it. I feel like the main takeaways from that is breakable glass, regular dunks, and if you didn't win a championship, shame on you. Okay,
I love that answer from Matty D. For those who aren't watching the video, he was in a hot tub smoking 3 cigars as he was backpedaling on his own ideas, screaming no shenanigans, and then wanting Fred VanVleet on a trampoline. Great.
No props needed, but bring in the blimp. Yeah, just Matty D and James Worthy like smoking cigars and going off. Okay, McCready, what's your event and what's the fix?
I'm going to go against the grain here and say we need to fix the dunk competition. Just taking some ideas that I've kind of like heard from. I like the idea of Filipe and children being involved. So like maybe like they could just dunk children through the rim, or like really heavy medicine balls. Like they get props that they have to use to dunk. This isn't actual anything I'd want to see because I don't really know how to fix it. But like maybe paintball to take the Jackass ideas. Like they're getting shot, they have to get to the rim. The first person to get to the rim wins or whatever. But I think like honestly, one thing that they should just do is take the Elam ending from the All-Star game and put it in the regular season. It's so fucking fun. The audience is like on their feet. It's so much. Imagine if every game ended in a game winner instead of like a series of free throws where everyone relaxes before the game is over. It'd be so much more reason to watch the rest of the game. Even in a blowout, you would still watch. So that's my real answer from that is take the Elam ending, try it on the regular season. If it works there, take it to the playoffs.
I mean, I think the Elam ending is like, was this the second time or third time?
It's hard to remember. I guess it's the third. Did they do it in the COVID season? Probably, right? I remember when
they
Lowry did it in the first time.
Yeah. Well, but anyways, to me, it's 3 for 3. And I think it's a good example of often, there's a resistance to try new things. And there shouldn't be, especially not with All-Star. Like, we shouldn't be too sacred with things because the Elam ending fully works. The players love it. The fans love it. I will also say the dunk off, and I will add that I actually, besides the fact that it was an hour long, I did like the skills challenge, like how it was broken up. I just think next time explain it to the people playing it, and you'll be in a better position. But my dunk off thing is sort of, I think they really just gotta like find a way to cut the like, part of the night when the momentum fully stops and someone is tired and trying to dunk or doing a bit that's not working. And I think you can do that by saying 3 attempts, period, end of story. If you jump, that's an attempt.
Just give it like 1 minute. You have 1 minute to do the dunk.
Yeah, and it's like a hard minute, like when your name's called. So if you have a bit, that's part of the minute. So it's like make your bit count. If I always got to shout out John Collins trying to jump over a replica Wright brothers plane and breaking the plane. That's good stuff.
If he just did like an elbow drop onto the plane and didn't even try for a dunk, that would have been the best.
That would have been amazing. Yeah. So I mean, for me, maybe like they used to have 6 dunkers, so I wouldn't mind 6 dunkers, but off the top, they only get 2 dunks each, as opposed to like each getting 3. And yeah, it's just slow. And look at the 3-point competition, which is sort of like bulletproof, right? Take some of the stuff from that where the rhythm and the flow, like even, if people underperform like Fred or overperform perhaps like Towns, it's good. Like it's just a drama building event.
And make it the main event.
That also, I think is people have been calling that for a while. It has the biggest stars. And Matt, to your point, Duncan, there's this weird trend that I don't know how I feel about it, but like at some point, the biggest stars decided that if they enter the dunk contest, they're taking money away from guys like Obi Toppin. So I kind of get that, but also I want to see Ja in there. We never saw Wiggins. I want to see Ant-Man. Like it's weird that the best dunkers don't go in.
Also, if LeBron doesn't want to take away money from Obi Toppin, sign a smaller contract. What the hell?
Fair.
That's a bullshit comment.
Yeah,
fair. Okay, let's just wrap this up with this last question. We'll kind of go like a little bit lightning round here. But Filipe, what was your weirdest moment? I mean, a lot of weird moments. What was the weirdest moment of the NBA All-Star weekend?
I kind of hinted at this with my previous answer, but the fact it exists at all. Like, I don't think anyone, including most of the players, truly, really, really enjoy it as much more than like, oh, that's neat. I bet if you did an anonymous poll, a bunch of the players would be like, hey, I'd rather have 4 days off to spend with my family or with my pals or just relax and stuff. I've been very pro abolish all-star games across all the sports for a while. I know in the NHL, players constantly get injured before, in heavy air quotes, get injured before the All-Star game, to the point where the NHL had to like impose a penalty that like if you don't attend the All-Star game for illegitimate reasons, then you face like a game suspension.
Yeah.
Ever since
it happened to Ovechkin, didn't it?
Yeah, Ovechkin. And then this year he got COVID just before the All-Star game, which is very convenient. But it's stuff like that. And then like baseball, ever since the All-Star game didn't count for home field advantage in the playoffs anymore, it's been meaningless. Like it's been a farce. And the Pro Bowl in football is the worst of all. It's nothing. And I think basketball's the same. Like you seeing guys like Fred barely trying. Why bother? Why are we wasting our time? Give those guys a few days off.
Whoa. Well, there's a whole all-star takedown. I mean, I agree with a lot of it, to be honest. I do think it's sort of for like more casual fans, but also, good points. What's your like weirdest moment from the weekend, McCready?
I think just like Rodman, just in general, kind
Yes.
of like wandering around and just doing his own thing on the court during the 75 thing, just talking to LeBron, and LeBron being like, LeBron looked like his weird uncle approached him for a very long conversation at his wedding, as he came up to him. So yeah, I guess just Rodman. I don't know. I guess maybe the weirdest thing is Philippe's irrational hatred of the All-Star game, and look, the good time that a lot of people have watching the show. But I get what he's saying. He's making good points. But like my girlfriend's a casual fan, and she loved watching the All-Star game. So I see the casual side of the enjoyment as well.
Well, mine is the weird Steph Curry, Aisha Curry game show.
Is it bad?
Well, it was like they did this whole promo thing for it, but the main like announcer like wouldn't look at them in the eye, or like talk to them directly. And then 2 Chainz came out with his partner, and it was just everything was a little bit not fitting, and it seemed like they crammed it in as far as the entertainment. But that takes us to the end of the pod, guys. I'll let you both go, but before I do, Filipe, what's up? What can you tell people about? Where can they find you? What do you want them to listen to?
Yeah, for people not in Toronto, as mentioned off the top, I'm on twitch.tv/Folopo, Folopo. Myself and a couple other Toronto comedians have been streaming these mobile dating sims, and they are chaotic. Like every time we think we've reached the craziest plot twist, it's even crazier. We went into them thinking like, oh, it's going to be we go on a date, we have sex with someone, then we marry them, and it's just going to be bad writing. It is chaotic writing. Like the most insane things happen, and it's been the most fun. So we'd love to have you join us there. Sundays at 9 p.m. is when we've been doing them.
Cool. Yeah, definitely check it out. It's really weird and it's really funny. What's up, McCready? I know Beer's back.
Beer's back.
Biggest improv tournament in the world.
Improv tournament. Yeah. And I mean, Freddie called me one of the best producers in the city, which is very kind for him to say. But yeah, I like those shows, but I really want to plug this cool new immersive experience that I'm putting on in Moss Park. We're reenacting Monsters University. I'll be playing Billy Crystal's character of Eyeball Man. It's happening Easter weekend, 3:33 a.m. until about 6 a.m. Each night or morning of the Easter weekend. We'll be up all night. And so will most of the people around the Mouse Park area. If you want to come by, it's free of charge, but you need to get stamped. Don't ask any questions what stamping is. It's uncomfortable, but it is worth it. So come on down, Moss Park, Jarvis and Queen corner at the beginning, at the very least.
I hope that you are actually there for anyone who does decide to come.
There's only like a 50% chance that was a joke. Like it could go either way.
Also 3:30 a.m. start time. Blessing.
Love it.
Guys, that's the end of the pod. Thank you both so much. Thanks to everyone who's been listening and sharing and all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Follow these guys online and go see them do funny stuff. And again, thanks everybody.
Thanks for having me, Freddie.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Happy to have you guys. And Matty D, if you feel like we're done and we're good to go, please just give me those words I crave so much. Okay.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.